Okay,
And we're back.
we're back again. Welcome back.
The Zach.
It's Candace P and the T, and you're here with us.
See that? What is one doing? I have no idea, Gina. I am as shocked as you are. Excuse me, Martin, I have a question.
So, I had an associate, like I was saying, who was so concerned about what I was wearing, how I looked, that it impacted them of not even wanting to come out most of the time. But that person would always make it a point to make me feel like I was doing something wrong because I wanted to present myself the way I felt I wanted to present myself. And it wasn't vulgar, but even if it was revealing or whatever, that was my prerogative.
Right.
And I just thought it was the craziest thing that this person would make it such a big deal, that the way I looked was affecting them so much. And instead of them saying, okay, well, let me ask, and some people have, well, where do you get your clothes from, or where you get this from, or where you get that from? But it's like, I think a lot of times people don't want to even ask you for assistance on little things.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Because of the fact that whatever's holding them up. But that's definitely was a you problem, not a me problem. Because you tried to make it seem like it was a me problem because you were bothered.
Right.
But
it wasn't.
But
that has something to do with self-confidence, self-esteem, and again, that is a you problem. It's not a me problem. That's something that you have to work on within yourself. Like, you have to have that confidence and comfortability within yourself, knowing who you are.
Yeah.
Makes a difference,
And I think that's why, a lot of times, Mr. Tim and Miss Pamela, with the P, not to say, I'm just going off of the point where they said that we're cliquish. It's not the fact that we're cliquish. It's that we own who we are. So no matter, we went to Ladybug's cookout the other day, which was a great time on its own.
Awesome.
But we had to go upstairs where our children were. So we were
outside though.
Yeah, we was outside. So you know how we feel about being outside. So although, we were not with the same amount of people or whatever, but we still had a good time. We started playing music, having our own little karaoke session.
Get out of here! Cook them up a good meal. Just every man wants a woman just ain't on her back. And I'm the kind of woman. Y'all don't know enough about this. Kick off your shoes and relax your feet. Party on down to the SKP. Just kicking. Just kicking. Just kicking.
And we were drinking and laughing and all dancing, everything. So, we took the party with us because we are the party.
We the party. We don't even know what party was. It was a party.
This is my first time over Ladybug House. It felt like my house.
Right.
Right. Because I'm like, because I come through with a confidence where I'm like, hello everyone, how y'all doing? Good to see you. I'm chopping it up with everybody.
Yeah.
And when we get together, we're gonna have it's Candace P and the T.
Y'all don't understand. I literally was sitting there thinking.
Oh, but now we did have the CLT in effect.
CLT was in his house. L hit the hit.
It was in the house.
Lauren hit the phone like I'm outside. I was like, boop, boop.
She pulled up on us.
She pulled up on us. Sorry. I was like, Candace P. I was in the alley. Candace P. I was like, Lauren.
And I was talking to somebody else. Like, oh my God. you know.
That's how we are, though. And honestly, we don't change nothing about ourselves.
No.
We are who we are.
No, because even if it's like, even if this was, but even like if it was Kiana, if it was anybody, we're going to do us. And just like if you're at a function with us, I expect you to do you too. I want you to. This is why I'm the way I am. Because I want everyone to be comfortable.
Yep.
Like even like when we were doing a karaoke, I think it was for my birthday. And or was it maybe just a random day? And the next door neighbor kid, remember he came over?
He came over, yeah.
And he was like so in his feelings because I wanted him to understand as early as he could. You don't have to know every song. You don't have, you know, if you want to be a part of this, be a part of it. Enjoy yourself. I said all you gotta do is pick one song that you know that you can know them lyrics to.
That's it.
Because everybody got that
one song that you know.
And you can make a little move, pop lock, and something, or if that's not what you want to do. But don't miss out on experiences because you're making yourself uncomfortable. And that's one thing that I don't like. So when I see people doing that, like, yes, my personality is a lot.
I know.
Tavia's personality is a lot.
We are not for
and then
everybody.
when we get together,
it's a lot.
It's a lot. I get it. But, you know, the people who know us and who love us and stuff like that, like, I'm sure they be like, oh my God, here they go again. But just know, like, it's coming from a loving place of, like, let's enjoy. I feel like life is too hard as it is. It's too tough, too short. You know, you go through too many stresses in life. And I'm just going to share with y'all, you know, my BB, my grandmother, she passed away. And like, that's my best friend. Like, outside of my best friend Kiana, that's my best friend. Like, and I have special relationships throughout my life, which I'm so fortunate to have. But that was my girl. Anytime I said BB, I said that's my girl. That's what's following up. And so many other people who have heard me speak about her, whatever, like, you know, I would say, you know, she made the best out of her situation. And although life wasn't how maybe she thought it would be or whatever, like, and when life gave her lemon, she made lemonade, and that's what I'm gonna do.
Lemon pound cake,
everything.
She made lemon ice cream, and it was banging.
Yes.
Like she was in there.
She was in there. So it's like, you know, that's one thing that I'm taking away is although, you know, you guys see me on here because I wasn't gonna do this today, and I was like, I had a memory. I wanted to call her, and that's what really sparked it off because I'm like, I wanted to call her, and then I was like, dang, I can't call her, you know. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna talk about her. So, you know, as much as I'm going through so much on the inside and stuff that I don't even know that I will possibly go through, like, this is uncharted territory for me. And I know if I'm going through it, then somebody else, one of y'all are going through it. But one thing I'm deciding not to do is stay in bed. Like, I done been to how many parties this week?
Girl, I'm like, I'm Candace. You got me some stuff.
I'm on my way. I'm kind of.
I even came over and we threw a party. Like, I'm like, come on, that's, you know, whatever.
Yeah, so it's like, I'm going to enjoy my life because guess what? Like, that's what, you know, that's what my grandmother would want me to do. And unfortunately, I'm not letting nobody that's stuck, who is so stuck in their own ways and own head of, you know, manipulating themselves and being, you know, deceitful to themselves and not being true to their own feelings. I sure as hell am not going to let you get in my way or stop my shine. Because this right here, when I got up, when I just took my shower, I cleaned my face and put on my clothes, I felt good about how I wanted to look. And ain't nobody in this entire world gonna make me feel as though because I stepped out looking how I want to look, to make me feel any type of way because you didn't represent this the way that you wanted to represent yourself.
No. And when I tell you, when you hit that pavement, though, I said halftime, I was like,
girl, And I knew she wasn't ready.
I wasn't ready. I was like, oh. That's good.
She wasn't ready.
But you know what?
Brandon wasn't even ready when I walked out the room because I was like,
Brandon was like,
this kid? And he was like, yeah, that's real kid.
But that brings back to the point where, like you were saying, you're not going to let somebody else dictate how you're going to feel. Then, like I was saying earlier, I said, I was going to call you and be like, well, what were you wearing for the podcast? And then I was like, no, I ain't calling her. I'm just going to wear what I feel like I'm cute in.
Yes.
And I don't mean no harm.
Cheers. It's the milkshake. You leaving my cheers.
Oh, sorry. Cling. That's my. But I mean, I'm a milkshake.
You are. You're a milkshake.
And I'm like,
and it brings the boys to the yard.
Oh my God. Are they still in my yard?
They're still in the yard. What are all these boys doing in my yard?
Oh, it's my milkshake. I mean, but yeah, because I was like, you know what? No, I'm gonna wear what I feel like I'm gonna be cute in, and I feel cute in this. I feel comfortable,
and you look cute. And but that's the part that makes the difference. Because say I've had people who have you ever, and I've done this too before, right? So I've as growing up, I've seen somebody they look beautiful in the outfit that they did, and I'm like, oh, I can try to put something like that together. But that's not genuine to who you are.
Right.
So when you put it on, or you put like take your mom for instance with the hat and the dress yesterday and those shoes,
yeah, she was fire. And
so that's that's not typically my aesthetic.
Right.
You know what I mean? I do like those, when people do that, but certain stuff I know, those
it was
those shirt dress
yeah.
won't look good on me,
because it don't give you no shape,
right?
Yeah.
So that picture me just emulating the exact same look, not to cater to me and my body type and what looks nice on me, but to go off of what she looks like in her body type. I would look crazy. You know what I'm saying? I would look crazy. So, it's even if you take pieces from other people, and then I'm not talking about clothes anymore. You take certain things from different people and you say, okay, I like how they finesse this situation right here. Or I like how they handled this with grace, or they were upfront about how they felt, or they explained to me a situation with their spouse and they gave appreciation to their spouse, or they gave constructive criticism, and you just say you just take little pieces of where you could improve. Yes, improve.
They're giving you guidance on different ways, because at the end of the day, there's always going to be a different viewpoint, right?
Absolutely.
We're all going to look at the same situation different. We talked about that. Remember when you said the therapist was like, this is
perspective.
This is this side and this is this side, but it's the same can. But you see the front and I see the back. It's even though it's the same can, we see a different view. We all see a different perspective.
Yes. Yeah.
And just because I saw it this way doesn't mean that's the only way I can see it.
Yeah.
And if you've opened my eyes to something new, okay, maybe.
And that's how I'm viewing life right now. With my grandmother's passing, and talking to Brandon's godmother, the first thing out her mouth was she had to change her perspective of life. And already off the rip of me going through that with my therapist, I said yes. And that's why I'm not broken down under my bed in a closet somewhere, not wanting to go out anywhere, because my perspective is to enjoy my life and know that the life that my grandmother lived and contributed to who the woman that I am today, it made a difference.
It made a big difference.
You know what I mean? So,
and your grandmother gave you so much. She gave you a different perspective on illness because of how she carried herself.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Because even though she was going through all this pain and whatever, what have you, she still was graceful.
Oh yes.
Right, and then it made you sit back and think, like, damn, if she going through all this and she's that grateful, You know, she's so gracefully just going through all of this stuff. Mm-hmm. Then why can't I do it?
Except for when she hung up the phone on me.
You know what?
I don't know if I'm over that. Because she gonna hang up the phone on me. That's a whole nother story.
Did you call me? Did you hang up?
I
did.
You need me to pull up on you? I said, girl, I will drag you outside this hospital.
I'm dead.
To fight in the parking lot.
Oh my God.
And she look.
Yes, but be quiet.
And she did not.
I just said y'all need to be quiet. Come on.
We gonna wait for the other one to walk.
MJ.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. These boys.
Thank you. So, you know, like
she showed you.
But even when I told her, I said, you want to meet me outside in the parking lot? She said yes. And she ain't pay me no mind after that. And every time I reminded her that she hung up on her, she said,
yes,
I did. So
she's like, and what?
What your boy do? Nothing.
You know,
Nothing.
Damn, this about to get real deep. So sorry. But because you had this, you know, you have to take, and this is hard for me too. But the things that you had, those moments that you had with your grandmother, whatever, they were such blessings, right? And even though she was going through so much, you still had the opportunity to build up these memories with her and stuff that people don't have. And like I was telling you, like I really, truly haven't, like, really grieved for my grandmother. Because, so we were there for my birthday. We were in Vegas for my birthday. It was awesome. It's a great video that I have. But I was able to see my grandmother. I only saw her for one day. And I went and I gave her $100. And I was so excited to give her this money. You know, because I was like, oh, I just know she about to go run to the casino. Because y'all don't know, my grandmother, so my aunt actually called me and she was like, I had to call you and tell you about your grandmother. And I was like, what? And she was like, I went in there and she had, she was dressed with makeup on. And I was like, oh, okay. And she was like, and I asked her where she was going and she said, no way. I just looked in the mirror myself and figured I would look better.
Hello.
So she was laying in bed under the covers, fully dressed with makeup on.
Wow.
Had her hair done and everything.
My kind of girl.
Right? Just because she felt like she should look better.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I think about that. So, anyway, and I gave her this money or whatever, and I was like, you know, take this to the casino. I was so excited for her to go to the casino and gamble her little money and whatever, what have you. And I told her that was the reason why I flew to Vegas, was to give her this money. And I never saw her again.
Right.
You know, that was the last memory I have with my grandmother, and I'm so glad that I made it such a priority. Like, as soon as I got there, I was like, tomorrow, I'm going to be with my grandmother. Like, I understand that all of my friends,
you was like, I'm going to go. But you know what?
so
I feel like everybody was like,
no,
you know,
yeah, nobody made it. They were like,
go.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
You know, we'll see you when you get back. And I was gone. I was like, you know, yeah, y'all all came from Maryland with me, whatever, but this is my priority. I'm going to see my grandmother first.
And honestly, when I started, because it was a long time that I didn't notice that it was just something in me. I was like, I don't have forever with her.
Right.
I'm gonna try to go get through this, honestly. I don't have forever with her. So, this was before she got into the hospital. I was like, I want to spend whatever time that I have with her.
Yeah, and you took so many pictures, and you took Graham to see her, and they had memories, and you know, you had video, and y'all on Snapchat and shit, and like, you know, I'm like, what be you doing on Snapchat?
Girl.
You know, and like, but you took that opportunity, you know, instead of being like, oh, well, there's always tomorrow. There isn't always tomorrow.
Right. And this is where I feel like, you know, I don't know what you call it, but my intuition told me you don't have forever.
Right.
And although before, I spent a lot of time with my grandmother, period. So even before she got sick, I would still go see her every week.
And she's weren't even her favorite.
I was her favorite.
When you got older.
When I got older. I broke her.
You broke
And
her?
built her back up. But, you know, like, I was, you know, but that's a testament to our relationship as
Absolutely.
well. Like, I am, like, people sometimes feel like I bully them. And I'm like, no. Because, like, those hard people who just want to be so hard to the core, I feel like that's my challenge. And maybe that's my problem. Because even when I was a kid, I felt like that's my challenge. Like, people who always felt like I was maybe it's because I don't like to feel like I'm scared of people.
Right.
So, or I'm like, I don't like to feel like intimidated or anything.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I want to know what that is.
Right.
You know, and I do that with everybody.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if I feel like I feel a way, like, ugh, like that person rubbed me off the wrong way, I really dissected what it is. And I'd be like, okay, well, is it this? Is it that? Is it me? Is it them?
Down. Right.
So, at the same time, not making too much time, spending, because I don't spend a lot of time on things, but or people, but because I get it quick. I feel like I be spot on.
But this is so funny.
Yeah,
it's so true.
Because I feel like I be spot on.
You do.
And I be like, okay, all right,
yeah, we got that.
I got you. And then if I'm
a
around
reader, y'all.
you, I'm
she picking that shit up.
I'm hitting it. I'm not giving you what you typically get. What you typically get from people, and a lot of people. We're gonna go back to defense mechanisms because a lot of people thrive off of survival mode, and their defense mechanisms are up. And when it comes down to me, like, and I'm not saying it like, oh, I try to be like their best friend or whatever, but I'm like, this encounter with me, it's going to be the way I feel is acceptable.
It's acceptable. Yeah, you now you turn it into what you want it to be.
Yes, and you know, I mean, I feel like I'm a master, but it's some people that I'm still working on, but I'm like, but even still, but it has to, if they just genuinely, I feel like they're not interested, don't want to build anything with me. I'm like, okay, girl, bye boy, bye girl, that's fine. But if I feel like we have some type of connection, we have some type of association, I'm gonna mess with you, I'm gonna break you down, and then I'm gonna make you like me. So that was that. But I got that from my grandmother because I did that. I tortured her when I was younger. She did not want to watch me. And now, like, from a little girl and being such the problem child to her, you know, and then having such a tight relationship with her, even as she was passing, like the day before she passed away, I was sitting next to her bedside, like, still talking to her, getting on her nerves too, because I kept touching her, and she was like, stop touching me, you know what I mean? But, you know, and then me looking at my phone, and she's like, hi, you know, but, you know, that's the beauty. And I feel like when I share, even before she passed, when I would share her with other people, I'm letting you know where I come from.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't be here without my mom or my grandma, because they were the core people who raised me. All throughout until I was 11, I lived with my grandmother and my sister, my brother, and my mom and my aunt. We are close, you know? So it's like, that's who I know. And I feel like if you're meeting me, the part that I can do for my family is to represent. And show them who we are. So I feel like if you never met me, you're going to meet my mom, you're going to meet my grandmother, you're going to meet the people that's important to me. Because
they help mold you.
They help mold me. Yeah. I mean, I got gray hairs like my mom. Like, my body is turning into my mom's body. Like, I can't even, I look like her. I sound like her. I can't get away from her.
Right.
Tasha.
Thank you.
Thanks, girl.
Thanks, girl.
But you know, but I just feel like that shows the bond that we have, and I'm going to show you the full representation of who I am. Yeah. And some people can't get with it, some people can. But, you know, I just feel like you're going to meet them through me. Yeah. And that's how I'm doing it with like her passing. You know, yeah, you might get cussed out one day. I might be kikiing and laughing with you the next day. And you know, and then we go about our lives sometimes. But I'm gonna bring you the real. I'm gonna show you who I am, and that's what I want for other people. So I feel like if you're around me and I'm not seeing who you are, I'm gonna crack you,
Right.
because I need to see who you are.
Yeah, I need to see you.
And if you're around me, if you're around my child, if you're around my circle, I need to see that. And it's not even a whole deep conversation, because as soon as I see it, it's a wrap for me, and I just be like, okay.
You breaking that person down, you just see that.
And they don't even know it.
True selves. Yeah.
And if somebody knows what I'm talking about, I need an answer. Like, not an answer. I need like a word for, like, I feel like I'm being descriptive about what it is, but I need a word for whatever that is.
Pineapple.
Not pineapple.
I mean, I don't know.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't. But some people do know what that is.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't feel like there's anything wrong with it. Like, well, it's part of being aware.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Being aware of who you're surrounding yourself with.
That's
right.
true.
And I always learned that the people that I surround myself with are either like me or better than me.
Mm-hmm. That's important.
Because and honestly, I want you to be better than me.
Yeah.
I'm trying to learn.
Yes, and then what's so crazy is like that's the way I feel too. I'm like, I can't. It's nothing against people who are stuck in like whatever way of life that they are, but I physically can't do anything with you, because I feel like if you're not better than me, if you're not inspiring me, if you're not pushing me, if we're not having conversations about growth, or about like how we have mental health awareness, and we're sharing things with each other. If it's a one-side street, I can't go that way. I gotta turn around and go the way that I can go, and that's the path that I want to go on. That's probably meant for me.
I agree. I agree, and we also have to recognize that, though, right? We have to recognize what decision we're going to make as far as that's concerned, because do you want to? I mean, all right, so we all have like high school friends, and college friends, and associates, and people from work and whatever. Doesn't mean that you have to continue to be their friend. I hate to say it like that, but some people are for different seasons, right? They say different people, different seasons. Just because you know each other for 20 years, don't mean that the next 20 years you need to be in my life.
That's true.
Because if I'm growing, then you should be growing too. And not just that, but if I'm growing, I should want you to grow too.
Yeah. But some people, when you having that I want you to grow conversation,
I'm into this shit, girl.
They get so upset because they're not ready to come to that realization. And I've had those conversations with people. Some people have had those conversations with me. B Horse will be the first person to tell you.
And Kai.
Yes, definitely.
And
And Caribbean team. Like, he would be the first person to tell you like how I would get enraged, honestly, at the fact that he was trying to tell me something that I wasn't doing. And he would say, like, I'm not against you.
Right.
But I feel like you're getting in the way of this, or you need to grow in these areas, or you need to mature in these areas, or this is what you need to work on, or why aren't you? He was holding me accountable
for your actions. And then maturity. It takes you maturing to be able to accept what somebody else is saying, right? Because not everything that someone's saying is to put you down.
And that's the way I was taking it. Like, that's why I feel like what I demand out of people in my life is not anything that I haven't gone through myself. Right. And I'm patient with those people to see where they land. It's not like I'm just going to write you off automatically. But I feel like at a certain point, it's like, okay, well, maybe we need to take a step back to see. Maybe you need to maybe I'm holding you back. Maybe
Let me touch on that, because when we were talking at Miss Robin's house, we had another banging party. But
yes.
But I kind of felt
in the kitchen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But I kind of felt like we took the party over. But I mean, I don't know. But anyway.
Sorry.
So when we were in the kitchen and we was talking about we were breaking it down, and there's somebody behind us. And I was saying, or we were both saying, so we were talking about how, like, at one point, because we were so close throughout our childhood, we were just so close, like sisters. And it was like, even I have a sister,
I have,
but she's 13 years younger than me. And so I never felt like I had a sister, but we were sisters. Like, we were just so, like, tight. And even though me and Ashley, we're closer in age, but me and you, our personalities just like click, just like they say that we click. So so there was a period in time where we were
that's my baby. Side note, that's my baby.
So there was a point in time where we really we didn't lose touch because we still kept in touch,
but we weren't as close.
No, we weren't as close. And when you moved to North Carolina, but we were both going through different things in our lives.
Oh yes.
And we were talking about how, when you go through different things in your life, he's so cute.
He was looking at me trying to
I know, I saw. So, like, we were talking about, when you're going through different stages in your life, it's sometimes hard to see what the other person is going through, right?
Yes.
And so you were going through something because Brandon was deployed. You were by yourself.
I was in a new state.
You don't have no family, no nothing, right? And at that time, I was with Trey. I was married, whatever, doing... Did I have Julius? I think I had Julius.
You had Julius,
No, I definitely had Julius.
Because you had him before I moved.
I know. I had Julius, and then I got pregnant with Caleb. So, we were going through different things in our lives. And depending on what you're going through, it truly does change a person, right? It makes you feel... you just totally, it's like you almost lose yourself because you're in your own world.
Yeah.
And when you're in your own world, you can't really take in someone else's stuff.
Yeah.
Especially if you're going through something really deep, right?
Yeah.
Today is so I would have been married 11 years today. And I normally don't, I've been divorced for like 6 years.
We're going to go with that.
We're going to go with that because I really don't know. And since my divorce, I don't do it. This is the first year that I've actually been with someone since my divorce, on this day. And when it's like you take on your spouse's stuff, right? And so when you're taking on your spouse's stuff and it affects your stuff, then you become whatever, and you're going through whatever you're going through. It's hard to truly, like, be a friend sometimes. It's hard to be a friend.
I told her, I was like, I couldn't have been a good friend to you during that time because it was so much transition and it was so much change in my life and so much stuff that I had to figure out on my own. Like, although I dated a man with a child, I wasn't I was around,
right?
But I wasn't like spending summers with this kid, dropping him off at
school, daycare,
summer camp, and being accountable for his lunch, breakfast, dinner, and while he's deployed, and then also having a relationship with or trying to maintain a relationship with his mom. I was in uncharted territory, and to be frank, just period, I was alone.
You were alone, yeah.
Dealing with it all. So I know during that time I called and maybe was like spilling all my stuff. But that's the part where I said I wasn't a good friend to you during that time because all I could care about was my stuff.
Yeah.
Even my best friend, like I wasn't a good friend to her, and although I felt like in ways like at the time she wasn't showing up the way I needed her to show up, but it taught me a lot because I realized how much I needed that transition and I needed to be by myself. I mean, you said you grew up, like with you growing up, you had a little brother, but you didn't have a sister. I always had my sister here and I always had somebody around me.
Right. But, and then you were the youngest until
Amber.
Amber. She's so much younger than you, and so. But I've always been the oldest.
Yeah. So I point blank, I just couldn't be.
Right.
One, when you just started your marriage, I had just moved down there.
Right.
I did. Because me and Brandon been married 9 years, going on 10 in May. So we were still dating. So I didn't know what it was like to be a wife.
Right.
I didn't know what it was like to be a mom.
Right.
Yes, I had a baby, but I had a miscarriage. So I did not know until you're raising, like, being a mother, you're always going to be a mother if you miscarry. Like, don't let nobody take that away from you. But to raise a child and to be there consistently on a day-to-day basis and make those sacrifices, completely different. It's a whole nother world, and doesn't take away from anybody, but it's a whole nother world. And I was going through those phases alone most of the time. Yes, I talk to Brandon all the time, but to go to sleep by myself, wake up by myself, do everything by myself, it was complete shock to me. And it wasn't what, as much as I communicated with everybody,
it didn't matter.
It didn't. It still came out so different than I can even think about. But like during those times, like because we were saying like, oh, we wish we didn't fall off. But I said no. I'm glad we did, because I could not have been a good person to you in your life. Not that I was trying to be malicious or hurtful or anything, but I only had the capacity to handle what you were going through. Yeah. Right, yeah.
And I was saying, like, and when you said that, of course we wish we didn't miss time. Because we had a great time together. Yeah. But, and when you were saying that, and I'm like, yeah, I really feel like it was necessary because we had the opportunity to grow apart to be able to go together.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I had the same thing with like Dominique. I felt like my friend Dominique, I felt like she was such a great friend. But I didn't have the capacity to be a good friend for her. And at one point, she said that she felt like we needed to distance ourselves. And I was kind of mad because I'm like, well, how dare she when I'm going through this and that and this and that. But you had to also realize, like, well, shit, she probably going through so much too.
Yeah.
But I can't really focus on her, like you said, because I'm going through my own stuff. And once I was able to sit back and actually look at the situation, I had to apologize to her. And I told her she was right. I wasn't a good friend. And it's nobody's fault, but I just need to acknowledge it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's your fault. I'm not saying it's my fault, but it's acknowledging the fact that I wasn't a good friend.
Yeah.
You were a good friend to me. I wasn't one to you.
And that's so crazy because I feel like I can agree with that, with my best friend Kiana. Like, as much as sometimes we can point the fingers at you, like, even during that time, and times before that, because I was consumed with other things, and maybe even now, everybody people will feel like that about you in your life because they may not have your attention, they may not spend as much time, but even now, I may not show up the way that other people want me to show up, and that's hard for me because I want everybody in my life to know. Everybody in my circle, everybody that I care about and love, I want them to know how much I love them all the time. If I can give them the treatment that I gave B throughout this time, I would love to do that. But in reality, you just can't. You just cannot. And that's where, I'm okay with certain things. Okay, if you can't get past that, I'm sorry.
I'm doing my best.
I'm doing my best. And if you can't get past that, then you just can't get past that. But I try to make it a point when I talk to the people that I care about. I bring up Kiana because I know how I've been unfair in certain points of our relationships because I didn't show up the way that she needed me to show up. And so a lot of times I get not that I get kind of upset with myself, and then I'm like, okay, well we both do the same sometimes because although I don't have that expectation, and now I think she don't have that expectation of me all the time. But like, although I don't hold that against her or anybody in my life for that matter. I can say my dad, I can say a whole bunch of people. But I don't have that expectation on people. Yes, that reality sometimes hurts.
Right.
But I don't have that expectation because the expectation of it all just holds you to a higher standard than you have the capacity to deal with. And I think it's unfair to do it to yourself, and I think it's unfair to do it to others.
But I also think that when you're on the other side, you also need to realize these things too.
Oh yeah.
Right? Because even though I may not have been a good friend right then in that moment, there's probably plenty of times where you haven't been a good friend and you haven't even acknowledged it.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of times where I've gone through something and you haven't gone through it yet.
Yes. Yeah.
But then once you finally go through it, I'm sitting there like, damn, now she see it.
Now you see it, yeah.
Now she know.
But that's what a part of true friendships and true, like, any type of relationship, I think it stems off of friendship.
Yeah.
So I think true relationships and true friendships, everybody has that moment. Because even there's so many conversations where I can go back and remember and that person being like, I ain't understand it until I went through it.
But now I see it.
Now I see it. And then and even with my grandmother passing, I'm like, fortunately for my family, we went through a long span of time where we had deaths, and so I'm not gonna say major, but like for me, who was major in my life, like a monument in my life.
Yeah.
I haven't gone through that. Right. So, other people have and stuff like that. And I'm seeing how they're showing up for me in different ways, reaching out almost every day, or, sending a sweet text or flowers, beautiful flowers and stuff like that. And I really just appreciate it. Even like the conversations of people just saying, hey, just want to check on you, or even on Facebook, like, hey, I'm sorry for your loss. Right. Like, those matter to me because I know that you're showing up for me in a way, despite maybe I haven't showed up for you. You're showing up for me in a way that's loving and supportive.
Right, absolutely.
And although we're all imperfect, we have to remember that because everybody makes those mistakes. Everybody, or sometimes people don't even know what you're going through, and we just assume we're supposed to know what's what. But like, I just think it's just like that's just God's gift for His people. Like, treating one another with love and care, and even for the people who I expected, like, my phone is dry, like, didn't get a text from you,
But I try to take in consideration, depending on the circumstances, their feelings too.
Yeah, but that's where it's none of my business.
It's not. It's
none of my business. If I was to focus on, to me, the small amount of people who has not reached out, the small amount of people who haven't either sent something, gave me like, I owe you, like, if you need this,
and
I'm with you.
Goes a long way.
A text does go a long way. So for me to focus on the people who may not have said anything, or maybe they haven't seen it, because you're doing a whole lot of assuming, that would make me feel like everything was in vain.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I agree 100%.
And that's the part where I'm like, hold up, I'm way too grateful. Yeah. I'm way too, like, one thing about me, I am, which I pray that God keeps that within me, and I know you have that in you too. We are grateful.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And I just pray that never goes away, because being grateful helps me through a whole lot of situations. I can see the other perspective by being grateful. Although I may not understand it, I don't care about the understanding, because I'm like, I'm just grateful this person did this. Yeah. I'm just grateful this person said this. Yeah. I'm just grateful that I showed up in this way, because that's the only thing that you can do.
Yeah. I have an example about being grateful. Mm-hmm. So last week, my dad's friend Trish. So we were talking and stuff like that, and I'm like, I'm dog sitting, dog walking for some extra money, whatever, because I'm a single mom, 2 kids, one in private school, da 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 da. So I'm like, I'm doing it for extra money, whatever. And she was like, I'll send you some money when I can. I'm like, you don't have to do that, But I try to check on her and see how she's doing, stuff like that. So I get maybe like 2 or 3 days later, I get a ding to my phone, right? And it's a cash app from her for $5.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay, this is where I'm talking about grateful for $5.
Yeah.
And then she sent me a text message. She said, I'm so sorry that it wasn't more, but this is my first check at this new job. I'll send more when I can.
Oh,
and I sent her a message and I said, you have no idea how thankful I am.
That is so sweet.
I said, I really appreciate it because every penny does count.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That $5 can go
that $5
way.
can go a long way. Yes.
That gave me a gallon and a half of gas. That I get 5 items at dollar store. $5 can go a long way.
Yeah.
So, but I wanted her to understand that it really wasn't the amount.
Yeah.
It was the thought.
Absolutely.
That I appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if she sent me 50 cents. Mm-hmm. Because she thought about me.
Oh, that's funny.
And she wanted me to do, she wanted to do for me whatever she could.
Yeah, I said it was funny because I'll never forget when I was in cosmetology school. I don't know if this lady did it on purpose, but she gave me 50 cents. And she made me work.
For that 50 cents?
Because she wanted a perm. It was an old white lady. I never forget her. I wish I could remember her name because she was really sweet. Uh-huh. But she wanted the tiniest little rods. And with perms, I don't know if y'all know, but you got to take very small sections and then rod each, all of them. And then it's a whole process of how long it weighs or whatever. So in my mind, I'm like, ooh, yeah, I'm about to get a good tip. I'm like, okay, I can maybe go out to drink or something later or whatever, because that's what I said. 4 Locos was the thing back then. But oh my goodness, that was terrible. But she gave me 50 cents, and I looked down at it, and I said, thank you. Although I was a little offended at the beginning, and she said, I'm sorry, that's the best that I can do. I said, that's okay. And I kept going, and then I was like, well, is everything nice? Would you like me to change anything? Just talking to her, just making sure that she was happy with what she got. So she said, yes, this is it. And because she would come to us from a nursing home
facility.
Yeah, so it was like a couple of them that would come once a week and get their hair washed and everything like that. So I said, okay, whatever. My next client, who always came to me, she ended up giving me like a $20 tip. Wow. And she was under the dry. I don't even know how she heard this or whatever. And then she was like, I just wanted to give you something extra because I know you worked hard today and everything. And I said, oh my goodness, thank you. And I didn't even say anything to her because she said, because I seen that little 50 cent tip. And I was like, oh. But that's how I feel like God works.
Yes,
you know what I mean? I feel like God will make a laugh out of a situation that was maybe unintentionally hurtful or something like that, because I was like, I felt like I did something wrong. I said, well, dang, did she not like it or whatever? But then I said, you know what? That taught me the biggest lesson, to never count anybody else's pockets. Right. The lady always came in looking nice. She always was presentable. She looked like she has a little bit of money. But even if that wasn't guaranteed to me.
To you, right.
What she gave me was what she gave me.
All she had. Right?
Even if that was untrue.
Yeah, but
that's what she wanted to give me. So thank you. And that showed me so much to be grateful for, because in the service industry,
yes,
you don't get a guaranteed tip.
You don't.
Some people think because this service costs XYZ, that's the price. They don't care about how long you had to stand on your feet or whatever. But I give it back to those people in the service industry. Anytime I go out and I feel like this person did a good, even if they did a decent job, I'm still going to give you a good tip.
Yeah.
Because you're working for this.
Especially if I can.
Yeah, and if I
then
can,
I will.
and it's sometimes where it's because now these people, because I normally go to a Black-owned nail salon
Right.
to get my nails, but now with me getting my toes done, a lot of these places don't want you to include the tip.
Right.
Like when you're checking out,
Right.
they need cash for the chips.
Right.
I still feel like that's some BS, but that's neither here or there. But, you know, I'm like, so it's been times where I'm like, oh, I don't have any cash. I'm so sorry. I'll get you next time or whatever. Knowing that sometimes the next time you're not going to see me because I might not come back here.
Right.
You know what I mean? But, you know, I just would hope that it's made up throughout your day.
Right.
But, you know, it's no guarantee.
Yeah, it's not a
You know.
guarantee. But, and again, and that's why I say, you just have to appreciate what somebody gives you.
That's
you know,
true.
and say thank you. Like, so what if it's 50 cents? So what if it's $5? I was totally grateful for the $5 because I'm like, damn, she ain't had to give me nothing.
Yeah.
Like, she's nothing to me. Technically, you know, she's awesome. I would never put
But
her
she's
down.
not like a blood
She's not
related.
a blood,
really.
no.
Yeah.
And she asked about the kids and how they doing and trust and believe that I don't reach out to her, she'll reach out to me, but I really do try to reach out to her. You know, every like maybe once a week or once every 2 weeks. I try my best. You know, because she is a good person. She means well. But you know, like, just because somebody gave you a little bit doesn't mean that they didn't want to give you a lot.
And but I feel like those moments get made up so many times throughout life. Like if you really pay attention, if you really focus on just merely just being grateful and learn and figure and looking at the lessons in life, I really feel like those, if it's not paid back in the monetary
Right.
way, it comes back in
It
so many
comes back.
opportunities. Because like I think about like me and her signed up for watching dogs or walking dogs and stuff like that. I have not been getting anything. Nobody wants me to walk their dog.
Everybody has me walking their dog.
She does. She's popping.
I've only been on there for like 3 weeks. I've had like 5 dogs. I got one.
It's been more than that.
Okay, maybe. But I got one coming tomorrow. It's like as soon as I get rid of a dog, another dog comes.
But you know what? I feel like God was like, no, that's too much for
it's
you right now because
awesome.
I didn't know what was going to happen.
Right.
You know, with my family and my life,
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
And I feel like if I had
that on
any
hold.
other
Yeah.
obligations, even like with the thing I was telling you about my job with,
Right.
that's on hold right now.
Right.
And a part of me was like, no, because I really want to show up the way I said I was going to show up. But I'm like, no. It will work if it's meant for me. Because honestly, it's going to
gonna
all
work
work itself
out.
out. So that's what that's a part of the gratefulness that I'm talking about. That I cannot. Y'all think I'm being redundant. Y'all think that I'm trying to preach to y'all. I'm not trying to. I'm just telling you how God has showed up in my life.
Yeah.
And that message of gratefulness is it's like blaring. It's like I'm seeing the word gratefulness out of every interaction because there's so many people that has been checking on me, calling me, texting me. Okay.
So anyway, so I was saying, like, you know, but we do have to be grateful for the time that we do have with anybody, you know, whatever, because we just don't know what could happen. So, not saying that you aren't grateful because you totally are.
Yeah.
I mean, and you have been graceful.
I have.
Yes, you have, and you're grieving. And when I tell you,
As though, although I've been
just-
trying to figure out how much allowance I do have to get my way.
your allowance. Listen, I've been using your allowance and you didn't even know it. I was like, babe, I gotta get off the phone because Candace on the phone.
Yeah, I said she got off the phone with me to be on the phone with her boyfriend, and when she called me back, I said, "Well, my grandmother just died." Like,
Yeah, she was like, so how much allowance? I was like, listen, I've been using your allowance. And you didn't even know it yet.
how much time do I have to soak this all up? Because I'm gonna use it.
So, but anyway, y'all, we're gonna have to wrap this up because y'all know we gotta go outside.
We gotta go outside.
And we gotta
after this
that's what
episode.
I'm saying. There's a lot going on here. We done talked to y'all so much that our camera died. Well, it didn't die.
It keeps
told us-
stopping.
It said ain't no more freaking storage.
But the message, the moral is just, you know, appreciate life, appreciate everyone that's around you, and just take those moments to show gratitude. And it really goes a long way because I feel like it stops you from more heartache. That's what I'm learning right now, is by me being so appreciative and so grateful for what I have and what I've had and what I will have. I don't know that part yet, but I'm grateful for whatever's going to come to me because it's mine. It's meant for me, and you know, that's just what I want y'all to take away. So, you know, you know, if anyone that's going through this, reach out, let us know. Like, it doesn't have to be a public thing. If you want to talk, if you had a loved one that just passed away, or you're still grieving, like I told Tavia, take this time to grieve for your grandmother as well. Like when we're talking about this, and I really feel like you have, and I'm so proud of you, because that by you taking those steps and just opening up and talking about your grandmother, and even like whatever everything else that you're going through, like it's only if I'm healing myself, I want to heal somebody else through this whole journey. So reach out to us if you need us. You always know where to find us. If we're not right here, then we outside.
We outside.
But
it's Candace P.
and the T.
And thank you for joining us.
It's Making Out with Friends, y'all.
We're gonna see y'all. Bye.
Let me go.
They don't know nothing about that.
Nope.
Nothing about that.
In the rain.
The dramatics, y'all.
Okay, yes.
The dramatics, y'all.
Hit the part.
I can't hit that yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. No, I don't got that.
In the rain.